Hey, what's up again, guys? Brian, the Three Topics Gamer, here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A titled People's Questions, where I answer a series of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. And I'm sorry for the mood, but today, Wednesday, is not a good day. I'm feeling very unsure about myself, about what is going on in DC right now. Sadly, it looks like I'm gonna have to mention it a little bit in a but I just want to try to get through this as much as I can, and just try not to think about what exactly is going on and just the uncertainty of what's going on. So I got about 5 questions for this particular episode, and there were others that I was able to answer in the comment section. So if you don't hear your question in this video, you guys will know where to look unless you haven't already gotten your notifications. So starting off with the first question coming from Super Samus Zach. You wanted to know, what are my thoughts on Team Eco trilogy of games? Uh, I actually never. I don't think I ever finished the first Eco game, and I never finished the Last Guardian, but I did play Shadow of the Colossus multiple times on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4. And I can openly say that when it comes to Shadow of the Colossus, that is perhaps the greatest timeless game I've ever played that I cannot give that game a 10 out of 10 to. It does everything right. I think the only thing that holds the games back is some of the enemy AI and some of the controls. The highest I could give that game is like a 9.5, but that is a true classic title that never gets old, no matter how many times I play it. I mean, I enjoy playing that game more than games that I would give 10 out of 10 games, 10 out of 10 scores to. But yeah, it's in terms of the whole trilogy, is if it wasn't for Shadow of the Colossus, it probably wouldn't be very memorable to me. I mean, The Last Guardian had an interesting concept. I just couldn't really push myself to finish it, and I never really even got a chance to even get into Eco. So yeah, I would say that's my thoughts on the Eco trilogy as a whole. Next question comes from Rain932. You want to know, how do I feel about politics in games, and what do I feel is the difference between political commentary and pushing an agenda? I think okay, there are some elements where you can add politics in your stories or games or movies, and it actually serves the narrative. It makes sense. Like, a lot of people complained about like the introduction of politics in like the Star Wars prequels. I didn't necessarily have a problem with that, because you have to understand that politics do run a lot of things, even though you don't really notice it, and that is important. And it didn't bother me too much at the time. And if you do something like that in games, it doesn't bother me. But I think having a political agenda and trying to force that message, in, there's a time and place for it. It's not something I encourage. It is, I mean, if it doesn't, put it this way, if you're trying to push an agenda and it has a legitimate purpose, I think I can work with it as long as it works as far as the narrative. But if you're trying to tell a narrative in order to push an agenda, in order to convince me to change my own opinion about something, that's where I kind of cross the line. Everybody is different. Everyone has their own different political views, and I don't need a video game. And I don't go to video games to change that. I go to video games to be entertained, or to learn something, or to spend my time, not to be told a social media or social justice idea that I don't agree with. So it varies depending on what the message is, who the developer is, what the narrative is. It can vary. It just depends on what kind of message, what is the game, what is the focus, and what is the purpose. But it can work, and then it can't work. But it's gonna be different for everybody. Everyone's gonna have their own different opinions about it, and those are just generally mine. Uh, oh dear, this one is not good, but I gotta mention it, so here we go. Next question comes from Blaring C89, and you want to know, do I think that 2021 will be better, worse, or more of the same as 2020? Well, I really didn't want to talk about this, but if we are just going off what has happened in this first week, not we're less than 2 weeks into the next year, and we have people in DC storming the Capitol building under Trump's direction. It's it just kind of, I just hope that what's going on right now is like a bad hangover. It's like 2020 was just one just awful party, and there was all this drinking and all this negativity, and there's always like a really really bad hangover, and I'm just praying that for 2021 that is what we're in right now. Like this first month is just the hangover period, and then once everything kind of gets normal and everybody calms the hells down or gets their goddamn senses back in order, we can kind of return to a state of normalcy, because it feels like it's been years since this country felt normal. Just normal. It doesn't, I'm not even focused on wanting it to be great or amazing. Just normal, where I don't have to constantly hear about how horrible things are up at the top or upper levels, and how that's filtering down to us. Just that's all I can do is hope. I'm praying that what is happening right now is just a really, really bad hangover, because this is not gonna look good if this is just the start. I mean, things are gonna get worse before they get better. I just hope we're getting out of that phase. Just I'm sick and tired of just all this negativity. Just really sick and tired of hearing about it and seeing it, and it's almost unavoidable. So all I can do is hope that 2021 will be better. I really do. Next question comes from United Slayer 666. He wants to know, do I have a top five favorite movies list? I don't think I have a video, but off the top of my head, like in no particular order, like my favorite horror movies would be something like, let's see, I'd put like Event Horizon, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, surprisingly, the remake of the first Friday the 13th. I guess Aliens in a sense. I mean, that's. I mean, in my family, we always have like you like Alien, you dislike you either like Alien and dislike Aliens, because Aliens is more action and Alien is more horror. But I do think there's enough horror elements in Aliens, so I guess I'll count that in it. And there was another movie, if I remember correctly, that is similar to Event Horizon, but it's like a little bit more down to earth, and it was called Ghost Ship. If I remember correctly. I'm not sure how many people remember that film, but yeah, those are just the top five horror movies that I personally enjoyed, just off the top of my head. And the last question of the episode that I really do like, and hopefully I can end this on a good note, is the Batman of Neo Gotham. And you want to know, what are some key elements that I would love to see make a return in the next Assassin's Creed game? Oh, there's one thing I would like them to take out. And I would be more than happy if they got rid of the Animus storyline, or at least put it on pause. But one thing I would like to see return is the return of a definitive protagonist. I'm sick and tired of this whole agenda saying, well, you need to give people the right to play as a male or female, or not making concrete characters, or just have a definitive character. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. Stick to one character with one name that is actually part of the Assassin's Creed, that's actually an unofficial assassin, and stop trying to connect whatever era they want to put it in and connect it to another era that it has no business being connected to. That is the most infuriating thing that I hate about Assassin's Creed. Is you're trying to connect all these different cultures and time eras into this one long story that makes no sense, and no one can understand it at this point. And the writers are clearly making it up, and that is the only reason the Animus exists. It is literally the worst plot device that I have ever seen in the history of gaming narratives, and it has no purpose. I don't know anyone who even supports this, and if you do happen to support this, then God help you, because I just don't get it. This has never worked. Another thing that I would like them to kind of go back on is, I wouldn't mind if, I don't know, you would have like a much more structured story instead of having all these alternate pathways and not really knowing what a conclusive ending is. So really, I would really appreciate it if Assassin's Creed went back to being a little bit more linear and be more straightforward. Doesn't matter where you set it, doesn't matter what character you pick, doesn't matter what story you're trying to pick, and get rid of the Animus. And if they do that, then I think that the next Assassin's Creed game is going to be a great one, because I really and also get your glitches under control. I mean, I'm sick and tired of games coming out and having glitches, and then you have to fix them afterwards. I mean, can anyone remember a time where you played a game and it didn't have all these problems? I mean, Cyberpunk is like a really bad example, but like it's been a long time. I mean, get that fixed. I mean, if you know there's glitches and problems, get them fixed first so you don't have to acquire an extra patch in order to play the game right. So, yeah. So, that about does it for this episode of the People's Questions. I hope all of you guys are staying safe. Hopefully, this crazy time passes by the time this video is uploaded, and maybe things have calmed down a bit. Guys, just let's keep our heads. Let's not hope that this is going to be the entire year. And if you happen to enjoy this video by the end somehow, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and press the subscribe button, because every subscription really does help me get me closer to what is going to be my end of the year goal, which I will be announcing on the 19th when I do upload my anniversary video. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.